Hi there, this is David and welcome to the top 10 mainline Dragon Quest games. Dragon Quest is my favorite series of all time. I love the classic turn-based gameplay and knowing what to expect when you start it up. They don't stray too far from the mold here, unlike some other series, which change drastically with each iteration. I have completed all of the mainline games on more than one occasion, except for 10 because that's Japan only and an MMO. So here we're going to count down the top 10 best mainline Dragon Quest games. No monsters, builders, mystery dungeons, swords, or heroes here. So let's get started. Number 10, Dragon Quest 1. Yeah, this is the first game of the series, the beginning of a great dynasty of games that few other franchises can hope to match. It was also my very first RPG, and as such, nostalgia might place it higher, but that's not how I roll. It's just far too basic to compete with any of the others. Kicking off what's known as the Erdrick trilogy, you are, of course, the descendant of Erdrick, and you're tasked by the king with first rescuing the princess, then defeating the Dragon Lord. It's pretty basic stuff, but the real adventure is in the exploration of Alefgard, going to towns, gathering clues from the NPCs to further explore the world, in order to make it to the Dragon Lord's castle once and for all, is really what makes it so special. Number 9, Dragon Quest II, Luminaries of the Legendary Line. Here's the much maligned second game in the series, often called one of the hardest RPGs ever made. I like it though. Don't let the game's reputation put you off. Many improvements were made in the remakes to make it a much smoother experience. Ships and multiple party members were introduced. You and your cousins are the descendants of the hero from the first game. Surprisingly, the game's very open world, especially once you access your ship. Back in the day when there really weren't any other RPGs to play, this was a godsend, because I could really sink my teeth into it, I could map, and really explore every nook and cranny and find all the secrets while searching for the 5 crests to open the path to Rhone and defeat Malroth. Number 8, Dragon Quest VI, Realms of Revelation. Remember, this is a countdown of my favorites. So far they've gone in release order, but here we're jumping to the late SNES era. The concept of a real and dream world is pretty cool. You'll be going back and forth between them for much of the game, but the problem lies in the progression. It's basically go to the town, meet the NPC of the day, solve their problem, then move on to the next town and do it all over again. The first third of the game has a pretty good story as you discover just who you are and the mysteries of the split world. Then it kind of falls apart as you spend the rest of the game helping NPCs and reviving sealed lands. Dharma Temple from Dragon Quest III is reintroduced, but now the job class system is fully fleshed out, with magical and physical abilities, as well as advanced jobs. Because of the way you level up your job classes though, the game can become a grindy chore. But if you explore thoroughly, you'll find one of the biggest games the SNES has to offer. Number 7, Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past. No game in the series plays as similar to its predecessor as this one. The game is pretty much Dragon Quest VI on steroids. It's easily the longest Dragon Quest game, taking well over 150 hours just for the main quest. But this is mostly because of the glacially slow pace though. It takes roughly 3 hours just for the first enemy encounter, then another 30 before you can change job classes, which work in the exact same way as they did in Dragon Quest VI. The story follows the adventures of 3 children of Astard, as they stumble upon ancient ruins transporting them to the past, and here the main adventure begins. You'll meet up with your NPC of the day, solve their problems, and break the seal restoring the lands back to the present day. Similar to Dragon Quest II, the remake on the 3DS really speeds things up though and solves many of the pacing problems that plagued the original. Number 6, Dragon Quest IV, Chapters of the Chosen. The final game released on the NES, and the beginning of the Zenithine trilogy, it boasts a unique chapter system. Basically, you have to play through 4 chapters featuring the hero's companions before your true journey begins. The 5th and final chapter is longer than the first 4 put together, which is nice when you finally get there, but the system makes for a slow start with very linear progression. However, it's much more story-driven than the previous trilogy. Character development, while rudimentary, is taken into account now by the developers. And since you have so many, 8 in all, the new wagon system allows you to utilize them to their fullest potential by letting you swap your characters in and out of battle at any time. AI is introduced, but it's not very smart, and there is no manual control for your companions once you reach the final chapter. though that flaw was fixed in the DS remake. Number 5. Dragon Quest IX: Sentinels of the Starry Skies. Here we have the only instance of a Dragon Quest game released solely for a portable system. But don't let that fool you. The length of this powerhouse will give even Dragon Quest VII a run for its money, because it quite literally doesn't end. There's an extensive postgame which uses the DS's Wi-Fi to download random grottos with super bosses and great treasure that you can use to level your characters ad nauseum. Unfortunately, the NPC of the day progression is backed, but with a twist that actually makes sense story-wise. You see, you're an angel from Celestia, who goes down to the real world to help solve people's problems. Doing so will grant you benevolence to offer up to Yggdrasil in hopes that the tree will bloom and open up the way to heaven. Monsters are shown on the screen, but the world map is gone, instead replaced by interconnected zones filled with treasures and crafting ingredients. I really do hate it, but the crafting can be safely ignored here for the most part, unlike on the next game in our list. Number 4. Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of an Elusive Age. As of the publishing of this video, we have our most recent entry. The world is beautiful and full of secrets, the voice acting is exceptional, and the skill tree system is expansive and rewarding. There's fast travel, horses and monsters for mounts. It does a lot of things right. 11, though, is much more on rails and story-driven than the first games in the series, though it does blow wide open in the end. Unfortunately, the world map is gone, utilized only for the ship. Instead, you have interconnected zones, which is alright, I guess. I hate crafting, and here it rears its ugly head. Again. It really drags down the experience for me. It's just busy work. Rather than finding weapons and armors in chests, you're going to be finding recipes, which forces you to stop and craft for a half an hour at every campfire. It really brings the game to a standstill as you backtrack the world over to find random garbage for crafting. The story's fantastic, with the Final Fantasy VI type twist halfway throughout the game, and as far as I'm concerned, this is the best RPG released this generation. Number 3. Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King. God, what a game this was. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's the best RPG on the PlayStation 2, with many people saying that this is the pinnacle of the series. The overworld is sprawling with treasures to be found hidden in every nook and cranny. The towns are fully fleshed out, and the voice acting is superbly done. Crafting is unfortunately introduced here, but it's nowhere near as annoying and time-consuming as it is in 9 and 11. You just kind of throw a few items in the pot, wander around, and it'll eventually get done. The job system from the past 2 games is gone, and instead replaced with a skill tree system where you gain abilities based upon which weapons you're using. It's a shame that some skill trees are exponentially better than others, and it wasn't more properly balanced. That's a minor gripe though. The love and care the developers put into your adventure just seeps through every pore. Number 2. Dragon Quest III: The Seeds of Salvation. I promise there's no nostalgia here, this game really is that good. Released only 2 months after the first Final Fantasy, it blows it out of the water, with a robust job class system and a riveting storyline concluding the Erdrick trilogy. Interestingly, the world is based upon the Earth, with towns reflecting each region's unique culture. You'll explore Jaipang, Romilly, Isis, and Edinburgh, representing Japan, Italy, Egypt, and England, just to name a few. Like its predecessor, it's completely open world once you gain your ship, and later the story takes quite the turn as you're thrust into the Dark World, which turns out to be the same Alefgard as in Dragon Quest I. The Erdrick trilogy really does come full circle here. All the missing plot pieces from the previous games are filled. You learn the true origin of the Erdrick legend. There's a reason why Dragon Quest VIII and 11 harken back to 3. It's just fantastic. And number 1, Dragon Quest V: Hand of the Heavenly Bride. This is not only mine, but the series creator's favorite entry. For once, you don't play as the hero. Instead, you're just a child traveling the world with your father who's searching for your mother. The game begins very lighthearted after all. I mean, you're just an impressionable 6-year-old child. Though it gets deep and dark pretty quickly as you grow older, get married, and have children. Like all games in the Zenithan trilogy, the wagon is back, but instead of filling it with humans, you instead fill it with monsters that you've captured. For added replayability, there is a choice of bride, and thankfully, they aren't carbon copies of each other. The DS remake introduces a third wife as well, and party talk to further flesh out an already meaty story. This is perhaps the most story-heavy Dragon Quest, at least up until the 8th entry. The world, while simpler than some previous entries, is fleshed out and changes with the time. As far as I'm aware, this is the first instance of an RPG with time truly passing and with monster capturing, easily predating Pokemon by about 4 years. I hope that you've enjoyed this retrospective look back at the Dragon Quest series. I love the games, and I hope that I've encouraged you to give one of them a try. What are your favorites in the series, and what order would you put them in yourself? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.